Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Intelligent Moron with Silva. We are deep into the holiday season, very deep. Not like halfway there yet, but we're pretty, in the midst of it. I usually like refer to the holiday season being the beginning of, or essentially like the day after Thanksgiving. That is like the holiday, the true holiday season, the true Christmas season. That's when it really truly begins, at least for me. I know there's a lot of people out there that like to start it as soon as October is over. I'm not that type of person, honestly. I can't do that. I cannot start counting down and getting ready for Christmas time when October is just finished. I cannot do it. I don't know how people are able to, but I'm unable to. Maybe it's because like it's just like I'm a Thanksgiving person as well. I like Thanksgiving, and getting ready for that meal on Thanksgiving is also a huge priority for my family. So like my brain cannot switch to Christmas mode as soon as Halloween ends. It's just not how I view it. I understand how people can view it that way. Those people typically don't really care for Thanksgiving, which is a shame because it's such a beautiful, beautiful holiday in the United States, but I'm just not one of those people. I can't do it. I like Thanksgiving way too much to do that. But now we're like in like the towards the middle of December now. Like we're getting there. We're not truly there yet. But I'm fully in Christmas mode, and I've already begun holiday shopping in person. I've done some online already, which let me tell you, man. Online holiday shopping is the way to go. I mean, it has been the way to go for about 10 years now. Maybe even more, right? Online holiday shopping is just better. It truly is in every way, shape, or form. If you know what you want to buy the person, if you know what they want, if you have it narrowed down, if you've been doing your research on all these apps that you use to shop with or websites, whatever it may be, if you got it down and you know exactly what you want or you want to get them, boom, it's easy. Simple. All you gotta do is add to cart, add in your credit card, and just go. That's it. It's very simple. I've done it that way, and I've also gone shopping in person very recently. I just went to a mall just to buy stuff. I knew what they wanted. I could have bought it online, but I was like, you know what? I have the time. I have time remaining. It's not like I'm not gonna get like the chance of like delayed shipping for these items that I'm gonna get are very very slim. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the stores themselves and buy them myself. So I begun my quest for holiday shopping about a few days ago in person at just like at a mall. Let me tell you, man, I still enjoy in person holiday shopping. I really do. I mentioned in the beginning that I'm a huge Thanksgiving guy, which I am. I'm also a huge Christmas guy. I love Christmas. I love the joy, the feelings you get, the affection with people, the just like the abundance of joy that you just begin to get and have with people during the season of Christmas is it truly is unrelenting. Like I just become more holly and more jolly with people as it gets closer and closer to Christmas. I just become a better and nicer person, a more joyful human being, and wanting to, hang out with people more often and see people more often. That's why we have these things, you write like a Secret Santa or a gift exchange with your friends or your colleagues at work, family members, whatever it may be, right? You just kind of build this you build this I wouldn't say friendship, but this like wanting to be together, togetherness, kind of like is something that, it kind of like captures you in a way, even though you kind of don't really want to, but it kind of does, relentlessly. I think because like also like Christmas time is in the winter, so like you naturally want to be indoors more, and when you're indoors more, you invite people over. It's more intimate. It's more close together. You're not so far away. Um, you're like trying to invite people inside to get warm and stuff like that. You don't want to be outdoors. It's like it's more of like um a togetherness holiday, right? Which I enjoy about it. You just kind of get that feel like you want to, be closer with people, and you want to be with your family and your friends and all that. And it really is awesome. You know, it happens. It happens, and it happens more than you probably would think would happen. You could be somebody who doesn't care about people. You could be somebody who doesn't really care about socializing. But once it becomes Christmas time, it kind of takes a hold of you. I'm not saying that I'm antisocial or I don't have any people I want to hang out with. It's just like it happens to build more, and you want to just hang with people a lot more um, during this time. So, I mean, like as I said before, like online shopping is much better, but there's just something about holiday Christmas shopping in person that is, it just feels right. I went to the mall. It's all decked out in Christmas stuff. They got, lights. They got Christmas music. They got like giant ornaments hanging from the ceiling, between stores. It's really nice to see that. I mean, my house is pretty Christmased up already. Got our tree, lights on the house, decorations. It's great. It's nice. It's comforting. And then just seeing in the mall too. You know, last year I think I went to the mall like maybe one time, and I was kind of disappointed that it was like not very Christmassy at the mall. This year, right? I could safely say that the mall I went to is much more Christmassy than last year, which is good for them. It is the Christmas season. We got to make sure that we're being festive and celebrating Christmas, right? It's what makes us feel good. But I went to all these stores, and I got the majority of the gifts that I needed. Still need a few more, which I might go in a few days back to the mall just to see what else I did not get. But for the most part, I got everything that I needed. There is a thing that happens though when you go to a mall and when you go Christmas shopping for people that you love, right? And they give you a list of what they might want. Maybe some hints at what they want. Sometimes they just tell you like, I want this specific thing, right? And you go and shop for it, and you get it. You get that specific thing. You get exactly what they wanted. And then you're doing some more shopping, right? Because when you're at the mall, you don't just go to like one store for the most part. You go to one store, maybe two. Sometimes you got to pass through some stores to get to the store that you need to get to. And you see things, something catches your eye. And let me just be very, very clear. This last trip to the mall, I did not buy anything for myself whatsoever. There was a few things that I was looking at. I'm like, you know what? I kind of want this. I didn't buy a single thing for myself, which I never really do when I'm going Christmas shopping. But whenever I do go to a mall, I always want to, I tend to want to buy something for me. It's just like because I enjoy things. I'm a human being. I enjoy having materialistic items in my possession that belong to me. I like having a nice pair of shoes or a nice sweater, nice pair of pants. I enjoy that stuff still. So there was a few things that when I was doing some shopping, I'm like, you know what? I could pick this up, but I did not. I was only there for shopping for loved ones, and I think it's, I don't have a shopping problem at all, but when I do go shopping, sometimes I want to buy like everything I see in sight at full price, no deals whatsoever. I'm pretty good with deals. I do like to I like to scope it out and see like what's on sale, what's like buy one get one free or get one half off, or stuff like that. a lot of stuff I did see that was like, ooh, this is pretty cool. Um, but honestly, like I did not do any shopping for myself at all, and I'm very proud of that. But I went to so many stores, so many other stores that day. Like I was at the mall for like seven, not just the mall, but like other stores, including the mall, for 7 hours that day, just walking around, getting ideas, shopping, and I I did a bunch more shopping that I did not plan to at places I had no idea that I was going to go to. And I picked up gifts for people that I'm like, you know what? They might like this. I'm just going to pick it up. What the hey? And I did. And I was like, I did more shopping than I thought I would have. I think that, something like when you do peruse and go through other stores and see like what else they might have there, and seeing items that somebody might like or might want, it's like, you know what, I'm gonna get them this too. It's just like, I understand why malls were invented. I understand like why all that is like in one place to just go and shop. Like literally, like a mall is like the perfect hub for impulse buying. You just kind of walk through stores just to get to one place, and you see something, you're like, oh, I want that, or I want to buy this for someone, or I want that for myself. A mall is truly a genius invention if you think about it. You know, a consumer's and a business person's like dream is a shopping mall. Literally, like you go there and you're like just hit in the face with so many different stores and so many different types of stores of things that you probably don't even want, but you're like, you know what, let me go see what's in there, maybe I'll find something cool. And sometimes you don't, but sometimes you do, and then that just leads to a chain of buying, a chain of purchasing. You're like, oh boy, I did not expect to spend this much money. And then I looked at my credit card statement like after I had done my Christmas shopping. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it adds up so freaking quick. I had no idea like how quick that was gonna add up. You count a little here, count a little there, and then you're like, whoa, I mean, like I shouldn't have spent that much. I think I'm okay. But it's a lot more than what you actually had thought. And you're like, whoa. I mean, thankfully I have money, but like still, like that added up pretty quick, you know? But I got most of it done. Like I said, I went to a few other places outside the mall that I was not expecting to, bought more gifts. I'm like, you know what? I might as well, I'm here. I might as well just kind of get something else, a little bit more than what I already got them. Because, if somebody is going to ask for a pretty expensive gift and I'm able to get that gift, I usually call it there with that person. Sometimes when I'm at like I'm actually in person in real life shopping outside and I see something like at any type of store, and then I pick it up and like then I'm in like a giving mood and I'll be like, you know what? I got this person a really expensive gift. Pretty good, solid, like a really solid gift. How about I just get them one more gift, and this one's not nearly as expensive as the other one, but it's still something that's like, hey, another gift from me to you. Not trying to get like any appreciation from that person. I'm not trying to like, say like, hey, I care this much about you. It's just like, it's like that, little like, hey, this person might like this, or this person would probably dig this gift. I'm just going to get it just for a gift. Stuff like that. I don't know. It's just like, it kind of like consumes you. The gift giving spirit. It actually does kind of consume you. I didn't think that it would for somebody like me, but it actually kind of does. And you get caught up in it. You feel the affection, you feel the love, the how everything's decorated, and in Christmas time you're like, "Oh yeah, this is a nice time." The gas prices have gone down, which is really cool. It's like, "Oh shoot, like it's about freaking time the gas actually went down." Now, this might just be like a holiday cut for the holidays, traveling, a lot of spending money. The economy is going to be going up for this time of year because there's going to be a lot of spending potentially. But it's just like a really, you know, joyful, jolly time that we are in right now. I think that it's, we have to also take appreciation of it. Like, spending this time together, family, friends, you got to make the time to actually be with your people that you actually do love and the ones that you actually hang out with. You got to make the time and schedule time to like hang with your pals and your family. It's really important. I'm usually somebody that has a routine, a daily routine of what I do. And I have noticed as I have gotten a lot older that the routine that I have during the day kind of makes the days and weeks go by a lot quicker than they actually are. Because you're so used to routine, you're expecting what's to come next, and you're getting ready for what happens after one task leading to the next, leading to the next, and then leading to the day after that. And I think that actually kind of makes time, the days, the weeks go by a lot quicker than they normally would if you sort of break a routine here and there and do things that you don't normally do. That way, it kind of seems like you're also building a memory, and your life doesn't seem so routinely focused. Which, don't get me wrong, I think is a good thing. It's good to have discipline, but I do think that in order for you to get full, a full life experience, you gotta have some things that are not part of the routine thrown into your life. And I kind of noticed that, throughout the, just like getting older and stuff like that, you just kind of like build a routine, like I said before. And a lot of people say this, like, we are creatures of habit. We like doing things that we normally know what to do, how to do, when to do them, stuff like that. I think that, breaking a routine here and there, kind of makes this like, throws us for a loop a little bit, but, has the ability to spark a little something in your life, something that you probably would not have done before. And I think that it's something that, needs to happen more frequently with us in our lives. I'm not trying to say that, do something crazy every single day. No, I mean, that wouldn't be very responsible, wouldn't have a lot of structure, can't sustain that for that long. I mean, we can only do so many things during the day. You still got to do your basic stuff, right? Work, home life, that type of thing. But, interjecting a little anarchy, and not really not like actual anarchy, like freaking like dangerous stuff, but like, throwing your throwing a little throwing a curveball at your daily routine every once in a while could actually benefit you in your life and how you make memories, right? Gotta make memories. Gotta enjoy the little things, right? Hang with your pals. Hang with your family. Schedule stuff that is out of the ordinary. Something that you don't normally do, but hey, might as well try it out. Like, actually, what's actually really cool that I actually did past couple weekends ago, actually, I went to a Los Angeles Chargers football game. They were playing the Las Vegas Raiders. I went with my dad, and he's a huge Raiders fan. And he was like, he kind of like, he sprung this on me like spontaneously, like, hey, I got 2 tickets to this game. You want to go with me? I was like, yeah, I'll go. Am I working? I was. But as I was able to get the time off, in a short period of time, and I was able to go. But that's like kind of like what I mean is like, sometimes you gotta just do something that's out of the ordinary, enjoy the life that you have. And it was fun. Like, going there was really cool. we got there like around like 12ish. Game started at like 1:30, so we were able to crack open a few cold ones. Enjoy the parking lot views. It was at SoFi Stadium, which I'd never been to before. Pretty cool stadium, big stadium. Really, high tech, modern day looking stadium. The only stadium I've been to in a while recently is Dodger Stadium, and then before that I went to Allegiant Stadium. I went to another Raiders game for my dad in Las Vegas, and then I went to this one 2 weekends ago in SoFi in Los Angeles. And we'll say, as SoFi Stadium is a nice looking stadium. It's big, spacious, has a lot of room in the walkways, has a lot of dining spaces, areas where you can actually just actually sit down and eat, which is pretty cool. It's very nice, like very modern, high tech, nothing old about it. When you've been to the Dodger Stadium many times a year and you see how old the stadium is versus you seeing a brand new, or not brand new, but a very newer stadium, it's like night and day. What I didn't like about the stadium is that because it is home to the Chargers and the Rams, the stadium cannot really go full on one team or the other. Like at Dodger Stadium, everything is Dodgered out. The Dodgers play there and nobody else plays there. In fact, barely any other events happen at that stadium besides baseball games. There's a few things here or there, a few comedy shows, a few concerts, but not a whole lot of stuff goes on at Dodger Stadium besides Dodger games. So the whole stadium is just completely Dodgered out. Murals, paintings, statues, posters, all that is just in the stadium itself. In the walkways, in the aisles, elevators, escalators, the shops are interior, everything is just all Dodgered out, which I love. At SoFi, because they share the stadium, they can't really go full on Ram or full on Charger because there's a lot that they have to move around to get it to be ready for the other team the following week, or if they're gonna, a week after that. So the stadium is nice. It's a modern stadium and it's got all of its luxuries and everything like that. But it can't really go full Charger or full Ram. Just kind of when you're a sports fan, you want to see your stadium be the home field, right? And you just don't really get that at SoFi Stadium. I'm not gonna lie to you. It just doesn't really happen. It doesn't really, you don't really feel that. I know this is kind of a tangent, a review of, SoFi Stadium after just appreciating the spontaneous things that you can do in your life. But hey, this is what happened in my life. I went there for the first time and I was like, you know what, this is a cool looking modern stadium, very big, very spacious, cool, cute, cool, huge, Jumbotron type of ring thing that they have above the stadium, which is pretty cool. But it's not perfect. I would appreciate it if it was just like the Rams stadium. That way it could just be all Rams and I'd be like, oh yeah, this is home. This is a home field advantage right here. This is the Rams house. But it can't fully be that because it's a shared stadium, which I understand why they do it. Financially it's better, but I would much rather like it if they had their own stadiums. Or if the freaking Chargers never even left San Diego. What was so bad about San Diego? San Diego's great. And you're going to go to Los Angeles? Okay, sure. You're going to have to compete with the Rams, which you're already losing that battle. But it's whatever, I guess. But yeah, cool stadium, though. I will say, though, the food was pretty good. But the seats... We had seats behind the end zone. And that was really cool to see. That was cool. The only main thing that was a problem was the actual chairs. The chairs were not uncomfortable. They were fine. But they were very, very cheap. Very cheap. And I was like, ugh, this is it's so bendy and flimsy. Like, I wasn't gonna break it, but if somebody was a little bit more heavier, maybe not a little bit, but like a lot heavier, they could probably bend that chair a little bit. Like, it just seemed very, very flimsy to me. And I don't know about you, but like the space between rows of seats was not big enough. Not saying I'm a fat dude. It's just like every time somebody wanted to get through, you had to literally stand up and then scoot back. That way people could leave their seats. I know for a fact at Dodger Stadium, it is not that cramped. You don't need to get up every single time for someone to walk by you. You can sit down. You can stay seated and tuck your feet in, and you'll be fine. So just a few gripes here and there. One, I wish it was either the Chargers or the Rams, preferably just the Rams Stadium, because it would be a better home field experience for the home team. Two, seats could have been, a better quality of chairs. Besides that, I mean, pretty cool, And then the game was bad. I mean, I was there for emotional support for my father, and his Raiders team is really, really, really bad. I mean, terribly bad. So it's really tough to see like a man like my father love his team so much and they don't love him back at all. For like 20 plus years, like his team has not loved it. Maybe like a good like 25 years, maybe even more than that. His team has not loved him back at all, and it is pretty sad. Pretty freaking sad, obviously. But we went there. It was fun. The game was worth it. It was a good time. It wasn't like too many fights, maybe one or two. Two people got kicked out of the game. It was toward like the very end of the game, so they didn't miss much. But yeah, cool stadium. Another spontaneous thing that I'm actually lining up for is I'll be going to a Journey concert next year, and I cannot wait to see Journey. Like, I'm a huge classic rock guy. I really just like the music, right? I'm a huge music composition guy, so I just love music for what it is. Not a big lyric guy. Like, lyrics don't really sell me any music. Honestly, like, I don't really listen to any song because of the lyrics. I will proudly not listen to a song because of the lyrics, but I'm not going to listen to a specific music or song or artist solely because of lyrics. It goes different ways, but that's just kind of how I vibe with that. But I'm going to a Journey concert next year, and I cannot wait. I'll be going with my dad, and it was something that I was like, you know what? I heard about it from a colleague at work, and I'm like, that could be really cool. I was like, hey, yeah, should I go? They're like, yeah, you should go. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go. I'll get 2 tickets for me and my dad. And then I got them. I'm like, I can't wait now. I cannot wait. I think it's their farewell tour. And it's like, dude, this is going to be sick. I mean, I love Journey. I can't wait. You know what I always wanted to do? What I would always kind of tell myself, like, if I was ever to go to a concert, like with, for a band or something like that I really like, or I enjoyed, I always want to get those concert t-shirts that they have, like with all their tour dates on them and like a cool graphic on the front. Like, I always wanted to get those, and now I actually got an opportunity to get one of those shirts if they are selling them. I mean, like, I'm not a huge concert goer. I haven't been to a concert since shoot, man. I want to say like the Star Wars in concert, like 25 years ago. No, not that long. Like a good 15 years ago when I went to Star Wars in concert. There was no T-shirts for that, but like, hey, I wanted to go see like Star Wars music being performed in real life, and it was really, really cool. But yeah, that's my last concert I've been to. The one prior to that, I'm a little ashamed to admit, but it was when I was very young. And when I was really into Disney Channel, I went to go see Hannah Montana concert. And I was like, this is kind of cool. This is cool. The Jonas Brothers opened for her, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty sick. Not gonna lie. Um, but yeah, Journey concert next year. Can't wait. Year's already looking up for your boy, doing spontaneous stuff without much, heads up. Book some concert tickets, hopefully going to get a nice shirt, some good music. Dude, can you imagine? I know that Journey has a new lead singer. It's no longer Steve Perry, right? I get it, but they have a new guy. I don't know who his name is, and he's been with the band now for a good while, like a good amount of years. But he sounds just like Steve Perry. I can't lie. Like, he sounds like very, very, very close to Steve Perry. When I was talking to my dad, he's like, "Hey, Steve Perry's gone." I'm like, "Yeah, Steve Perry's gone." But they have some guy that sounds really, really close to Steve Perry, which is like, I know it's not Steve Perry, but like, hey, at least the music still sounds pretty similar, But I can only imagine, dude, separate ways in concert, any way you want it, Wheel in the Sky, Don't Stop Believing, dude. This is going to be a really cool concert, man. I cannot wait. Moving on to some sports news that broke a couple days ago that I could not actually believe. And at the time of this recording and when it comes out, there is already some footage and proof that this is actually truly, truly happening. And it is already in full swing. But the news broke 2 days ago, and I could not believe when I had seen it. And I heard something maybe about 3 days ago that it was in the works and it was going to happen. It was potentially going to happen very, very, very soon. As you know, I'm a huge sports fan. I watch a lot of football. And over the weekend, sadly, on Sunday, the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, Daniel Jones, suffered a torn Achilles. Very, very sad. A very bad injury. Non-contact either, which those injuries with Achilles usually are non-contact, right? Out for the season. Gone. Going to be out for the majority of next season too, even if he gets an opportunity to play. We'll see what happens, right? Out for the season. So, Indianapolis Colts had a backup, Riley Leonard. I think he was like a draft pick maybe a couple years ago. Not a huge college football guy, so I'm not really familiar with this guy. But obviously, they had some uncertainty at quarterback. And the Colts, in the most recent years, have had a lot of really interesting choices of what they have done in their organization. From the drafting of Anthony Richardson to the benching of Anthony Richardson to the hiring of Jeff Saturday as head coach for 8 games and to signing Daniel Jones from the New York Giants. Now, he was in the Vikings before that, but to signing Daniel Jones, a quarterback that a lot of people thought was totally done, washed, career over possibly, to now with the news that the Colts have signed Phillip Rivers. Yeah, you heard me. Phillip Rivers, former quarterback of the Chargers in the early 2000s, 2010s, and then had a stint with the Colts for a couple years. They signed Phillip Rivers to their practice squad for the remainder of the season. I did not stutter when I said the name Phillip Rivers. If you guys know ball, you know who that is. I know who that is very well. 44-year-old Phillip Rivers had not been in the league for 5 full years, is now on the Indianapolis Colts practice squad. And listen, I don't know if he's going to actually play a game in the NFL. I would imagine that he does not play one snap. And I don't even know why the Colts would sign him to this practice squad deal in the first place without a thought of hey, we're going to sign to the practice squad, but he's going to start for us. I think the Colts are a smarter organization than that. To throw out a 44-year-old man who hasn't played in the NFL in 5 years, like, I know that they know the guy because he played for them years ago, but like that still is not a good enough reason to sign the guy to a practice squad deal and to potentially elevate him to starting quarterback. The guy is 44 years old. He hasn't played football in 5 years. Who knows what his conditioning is like? Who knows what his shape is like? Who knows if he can even throw the ball fast enough, to be in the NFL? Like, I've only seen a snippet of his press conference. And don't get me wrong, I like Phillip Rivers. I think he's a pretty cool guy, He definitely has a lot of fun playing football. He definitely cares a lot. He definitely likes playing football. The teammates like him. The coaches seem to like him. He can he was able to make pretty good throws when he was playing. But I just don't know about this right now. When I look at this and I see like they sign him, I'm like, this can't be real. Like, they can't expect this guy to actually, start in a game, right? That would be insane. If they said like, all right, we're going to sign you to the practice squad, but you're going to be starting this coming Sunday. That just seems crazy to me. I don't see how this is even like going to happen. I just can't see this. I don't even know if like is Riley Leonard like hurt. I have no idea, but like it's just like I don't see how this is going to materialize. How this could possibly work. This almost kind of seems like when they hired Jeff Saturday to coach the remaining of that one season. By the way, Jeff Saturday's record as a coach is 1-7. He won one game against the Raiders and then lost every single game after that. So it's like, I just don't see how this could be an actual good idea for the Colts. Like, how could this be your best option? Phillip Rivers. Like, has Phillip Rivers like been in touch the entire year? Has he been consulting? Has he been like giving his thoughts? Has he been talking with Shane Steichen, who's the head coach of the Colts? Like, there has to have been like much more communication throughout the years than just like, oh, bring him back. Like, there's no way. Like, I know like when football players retire from football, there's some that totally just stay away from the league, do their own thing, yada, 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 live their life. I would assume that what might have been like Phillip Rivers' like life after that. Like, I think he's like a coach for one of his son's football teams or something like that in high school. So like he's kind of like doing his own thing. I would have thought that he would even like actually wanted to like stay in contact with these organizations, but I guess like he might have. I truly think that he was just not like kind of like just brought back off the street, to rejoin the team. He might have had some like kind of communication throughout the year, like this, that, the other, giving some pointers, to the head coach and all that. Like, he knew the people in the building. I just don't think that he would have been like called up at a random, like, hey, come back. He had to have been talking. He had to have been like talking about with people, like, hey, I can come back if you guys want me to, stuff like that. But just bizarre. And if it works, man, it'll be so cool. But I just don't know, man. And at that point, like, if you're the Colts, Phillip Rivers is now a grandfather. If you don't know that, he's a grandfather now. So are we really going to be sending out a grandfather in today's NFL? I know the quarterbacks are still protected a lot, so they can get away with quite a bit. He can't really hit the quarterback all that well, but he's much older and much less athletic than as we remember, guys. Like, this could be a disaster, not just for the Colts season, but for this man's, health. This poor man's body. He's going to get rocked. He could potentially get really, 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 and I'm not saying that I want this to happen, but I'm not saying that it should happen, but he could potentially get really hurt. in his return to the NFL. So I think that, this is something that, they probably looked at and are like, you know what, should we bring him back? Should we not? In all sense and purposes of like what fans would like, yeah, this is pretty cool, but is it right? It's like the one quote from Jurassic Park by Ian Malcolm. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Something like that. Like, you were so like focused on could we, you didn't think that if we should have done this. It's like, you can bring back Phillip Rivers, but should you bring back Phillip Rivers? I don't really know. I mean, was Anthony Richardson that bad that you did not want to put him in the game? I don't even know, like, the status of Anthony Richardson's health. Like, what is he, health-wise, like, where is he at? Is he at all healthy? He hasn't played a snap this entire year, so I'm like, I would assume, like, he's kind of okay. Like, I'm just, like, shooting from the hip right now. Like, I have no idea if Anthony Richardson is okay or not okay. And if he was okay, was he really that bad that you're like, nah, we need Phillip Rivers back? Like, I'm trying to like see like and approach this from like the Colts perspective and like their thought process and where they might be on this decision. Like, was he really that bad? Was he, or was it just like something that I just have no idea. The decision really baffles me. When I saw it materializing, I was like, is this real? And like everybody from Posting on X, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport were saying like, this is not fake. This is true. This is in the works. This is happening right now. This could potentially happen. And I'm like, okay. I mean, like, hey, crazier things have happened in life. I mean, what Tom Brady did. Tom Brady retired, but then he didn't retire. You guys remember that? A lot of people forget about that too. Tom Brady for a while retired, and then he unretired. I remember that. Like, he actually did retire for a bit. I think he made an announcement, and then he came back out of retirement. And then I think so did Gronkowski. Gronkowski also retired, and then came back to play one more year, I think, with Tom Brady. Like, I mean, it's happened before, but no one has been retired for 5 years and then come back to play 5 years later. This is uncharted waters. This is unheard of territory. This is very, very new for us. And I looked it up now, yesterday, that if Phillip Rivers were actually to take a snap in a game in the NFL, he would then be ineligible to get into the Hall of Fame for 2026. He would have to wait 5 years, at least after his final game playing in the NFL, to be eligible to get inducted, I don't know, into the Hall of Fame. So him coming back potentially, if he takes a snap and plays in an NFL game, he would have to wait even longer to get into the Hall of Fame. He was about to get, nominated / indicted, but now if he plays again, he'd have to wait 5 more years for that to happen. So, hey, you got to, Phillip Rivers, you probably want to play football now, but getting indicted into the Hall of Fame would have been cool also. But I get it. The guy's a competitor, wants to play the game that he loves playing, wants another shot at it. I mean, like, the Colts' record isn't terrible. They're still in a decent position to make the playoffs. And if the Colts are like, hey, we need our guy back. We need our guy back. Let's bring him back. If that's their mindset and they see like, hey, we got a shot here, like a true shot, an opening that doesn't come all that often for us, we got to strike while we're sort of hot right now. Let me tell you that. The Colts right now are ice cold. they got nothing really going on for them right now because Daniel Jones is out, and before that they were kind of struggling a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit. But if they think that this is their ticket to the playoffs, ticket to the promised land, potentially winning a championship, I just don't think that's going to happen. But you know what? If they see something in this guy, bringing him back might fix things. Hey, I want to see it happen. You kidding me? You don't want to see this? You don't want to see Phillip Rivers lace up again? Try it out. Try to at least make a completion. That's like must-see TV right there, boys. As much as it might be bad to watch, it might be very painful. He might be very bad. He could, it's a high probability that he's going to be very bad. But it's worth the watch. It'll be worth at least to tune in and see, like, hey, what do you really got, Philly? What you got, Phillip Rivers? I would like to see that happen. I would like to see him try. For real. Moving on to some entertainment news. I did not talk about this last week because it literally broke on the day the episode debuted. Netflix has acquired Warner Brothers. They have bought out Warner Brothers. And what many people are saying right now is a hostile buy, unfair buy, Paramount offered more, and they chose Netflix. That's being under investigated. Whether the sale for Warner Brothers was justified, right, that's all being, sought out right now. So I won't be talking about that per se, but just the shock of the news, my reaction in general to Warner Brothers being bought by Netflix. If you are a fan of Warner Brothers properties, like anything Warner Brothers, DC, anything like that, HBO, I wouldn't say that you should be worried about anything happening to your beloved stuff just yet. But I would have concern. I have concern because now your beloved properties that you like are no longer the studios that you grew up with, that you began to build a likeness towards, a relationship towards, a trust towards. They're no longer theirs. They are now Netflix's. What I mean by that is Netflix now owns Band of Brothers. Netflix now owns Game of Thrones. Netflix now owns DC. Netflix potentially now owns some of, I believe, Lord of the Rings. At least the movies. So Netflix owns a lot of crap right now. A lot of it. Now, just like how Disney in the day bought 20th Century Studios, it was a huge shock. Now, it's a huge shock yet again, but this time it's a little different. Now, a streaming platform bought a major movie studio. A streaming platform that makes tons of content year in, year out from movies, TV shows, and puts them on a streaming service. While you have a company like Warner Brothers that makes shows on streaming services and on TV, but also makes movies to go into theaters. And is, for the most part, been very, very, very pro-movie. Sticking to movies. They might not make the best movies recently, but hey, you know what? They make movies. They put out movies in theaters and try to make a profit. Now they're owned by Netflix. So concerns rise, right? Like, will movies still be in theaters? Now, I have every reason to believe that Netflix will not completely kill movie theaters just yet. but they probably will very soon. There's been a lot of speculation of Netflix now owning Warner Brothers. Any movie they distribute, will they get the full release in theaters for like about a month? Will that continue to happen? And I'm pretty sure Netflix is going to speak up on this very soon. Say like, yes, of course we're going to get movies out there in theaters for a good time. I believe that will change very quickly. Listen, I mean, Netflix has gone on, the owner of Netflix, the CEO, whoever you want to call him, has boasted very highly that he believes that if Oppenheimer and Barbie released on Netflix on the same day on his platform on Netflix, that they would see an even more gross in money than what it made in theaters. I probably, maybe, I don't know exactly how that money works on those streaming services. I really don't understand at all. But I don't think that that's something that he should be saying. Obviously, he's going to say that because he's defending his company and he's not going to put his company in doubt, right? That's not what you do when you have a company like that, when you have a business like that. You're never going to say like, oh, I think that we probably couldn't do those numbers. Like, you're not going to say that. You're going to promote your company every way you possibly can. That is what you are. That is business 101. You're not going to talk bad about your company, about your business. You're just not going to do that. So this is big news still. This is being heavily talked about everywhere. What's going to happen to your favorite stuff? Well, they change a lot of things. Will they allow like Warner Brothers to still operate just under a new banner of Netflix? How's that all going to happen? Is it going to still be like divided? Will there be HBO Max? I've seen a lot of reports saying that HBO Max will be absorbed by Netflix. So, I mean, like, you're talking like Netflix, like straight up wiping out a competing streaming service and absorbing all of its content onto Netflix. That is just crazy. That is monopolizing at its finest. I mean, you saw a problem, right, in HBO Max. Maybe not the biggest problem in terms of streaming services. I mean, HBO Max is pretty popular, but I wouldn't say it's like as popular as like Disney Plus. That might be Netflix's biggest competitor, is Disney Plus. And you see that and you're like, well, why are we competing with these guys? Why are we putting so much money into all this new shows and similar shows that we kind of ripping off from other services and ideas? Why don't we just buy these other ones? We have the money to do it. Let's just buy them and just own them. That way we eliminate the competition. And that's exactly what they did. They essentially eliminated the competition, and now they have no reason to. Their competing is now not going to be as high as they was before, because now they own all those properties. They own everything, and like it's strange because we saw it once years ago, and we're like, is this going to happen again? Probably, surely it might, but I think that these other companies like Warner are going to stand their ground and stay firm and be, and truly live on. But as time has gone forward, that's not what's happening. More and more of these companies are going up for sale, and they're being bought out by streaming services. And now, I mean, like, I just went to the Warner Brothers studio tour this past summer, or this past spring. Like, now it's going to be called the Netflix Studios tour now, like, because they now own Warner Brothers. Like, so is Warner Brothers going to be decimated? Is Warner Brothers still going to be like, still going to operate? Like, I don't know how that's going to happen. I really, really don't. The new James Gunn DC universe, like, is that going to move forward? Is that going to still be a thing? Will Netflix have a say in that if it continues the way it continues? Like, I mean, they're supposed to be, again, this is pre-recorded, there's supposed to be a Supergirl teaser trailer that already came out today. So, like, I don't know if, like, that's going to move forward as planned. I mean, dude, this is kind of reaching far, you know, but hear me out. What if Netflix is not a huge fan of James Gunn's DC universe? Let's just say they're not, right? They're not a huge fan. Now they own that. They could pull the plug if they'd like to. They very well could. I mean, let's be honest. Superman did not perform very well at the box office. It only made like just over $600 million for a Superman movie. That's not acceptable. And then Supergirl is coming out next year. That's gonna make less than Superman for sure. So like, if Netflix doesn't see a very good enough profit in that movie, what if they unplug it? What if they pull the plug on the DC universe? Like they kill that whole thing off before it even gets any messier than it already was, right? I know they signed deals with Warner Brothers, James Gunn and Peter Safran. I get that. They signed a deal, multi-year deal to establish a universe for Warner Brothers for their DC properties. I get that. But that was under Warner Brothers. Now Netflix owns it. And you know who Netflix also really, really likes and also works with very closely? Zack Snyder. What if this is a huge what if? What if Netflix decides to say, hey, Zach, we now own Warner Brothers and all their IP. We want you. We know that you had stumbled around with Rebel Moon for us at Netflix and it wasn't very good. And we even gave you a second movie and I think another one's coming out from you. What if you just kind of scrap all that and return to continue the Zack Snyder DC universe? Hey man, like I know a lot of people don't like the Zack Snyder, the Snyderverse. I think it's okay. I think it's very spectacly, very visually pleasing, cool characters. Not my favorite. I still don't vibe with that Superman very well. But hey, a lot of people like the Snyderverse. I could definitely see Netflix back being like, hey, let's bring this back. I totally could see that happening. I'm not saying that it is going to happen, but it could potentially happen. If that's moved forward, if we get like news that this is going to happen, oh my God. I'm not going to be like, I can't wait to see what happens next, but I'll be like, I'll definitely be very intrigued. Now, because it's Zack Snyder, I'm not going to be like, this is going to be a great movie. No, I'm going to be like, this is going to look cool. Probably not be a very good story or movie, but it's going to look very cool. You know, I'm already at that advanced stage now where I cannot be tricked by Zack Snyder anymore. I know what you're all about. I know what you are. You know, I know how you make movies. I respect your art, your talent, but I know how you make movies, and you don't make very good movies. You make very good looking movies, but not very good movies in terms of story and character. But this is another huge purchase, right? Another huge monopoly making move, right? And it's like we're so used to this now. When Disney bought 20th Century, when Microsoft bought Activision, Blizzard, now when Netflix bought Warner Brothers, like we are in the age of monopoly. We're like in the age of like no competition. We're like in the age of like monopolizing, like and just like these like deals that get made and these purchases that happen, these companies that are going under, and they have to be bought out. I mean, it's becoming the new norm. Like it's gonna be soon, like sooner or later, like we're just gonna be having like one company owns everything. And there's going to be all these bundles of streaming bundles and like packages and crap like that. It's going to be like, what? I can't believe this is happening. Like, why? How? I just so you can now chalk it up, right? Netflix will own all this stuff. It'll be integrated probably within the year. HBO Max will actually disappear for sure. It won't be called HBO. It won't be called Max. It won't be called HBO Max. It'll just be Netflix. I doubt they'll keep HBO Max. Netflix will just put everything on Netflix, and now you won't have a reason to have HBO. I'm pretty sure. Also, if you're a traditionalist, if you're a cable person, if you use cable, satellite, whatever, HBO channels, those will be gone within the year. I'm pretty sure that those will be gone. I don't see how they will survive if this deal is completely finalized and signed off. I don't see how those will survive. It's a crazy world that we live in, man. And the ending of this year, if you can remember anything big happening, was the purchase of Warner Brothers from Netflix. Now everything is Netflix now. They were like one of the first streaming service. Now they had all these competitors through the late 2010s and then the early 2020s, and now they're just wiping them out one by one. It's gonna happen. They might be the one at the end of the streaming wars. Could very well happen. Anyways, that's going to be it for me today, people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts. At Intelligent Moron on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week.